Morning, guys. Today I want to talk to you about getting around good people. Now, you would have probably heard me talk about that on these little videos, and definitely you've heard us talk about that on the podcasts. But it is so important when you think of who are you surrounding yourself with, and how are you interacting with them, how often, and I guess the purpose of those interactions as well. Although the particular direction I want to take this morning's little video in is this morning I had an awesome interaction with two other people. We last minute decided to catch up and walk up and down the beach and just talk things through, which I'll dive into a bit more of that in just a moment. But it's so important that you surround yourself with good people who you can have creative conversations with, you can share ideas with, and also a group that you can catch up with and talk about solving problems. Not so much, we don't want to be whinging about problems, we want to be looking at solutions for those problems and how to solve them, how to move past them, mitigate them, and avoid them happening again and again. Now, some of you may already have this in place. Often talking to builders, some of you already have a group that you catch up with maybe monthly, or might be a breakfast group. If you want to connect with some of those, reach out. We know of some around Australia. But strongly encourage you to get around people and find good people. For some of you who may be struggling to understand what I'm talking about, if I use the example of you may have had a coffee catch up with someone at some stage and you just hit it off and you just started talking about all sorts of ideas and coming up with solutions for problems that you've been facing in the past. Maybe you went to a group dinner and you just happen to sit next to someone and you just hit it off. Or maybe it's even, I've had it happen, you go to a wedding and whoever's setting up the tables, let's say it's the bride and groom, they know who they're inviting, and so that they, I would imagine most people are placing people next to each other who they know are going to get along and have a good time. So I've had that as well in those scenarios where you just sit next to someone and you just hit it off. And maybe, you're hitting off with someone who is a business owner or a big thinker. I sometimes, often hit it off with just other dads, who want to be better dads, want to be better husbands. And so talking about, what are some of the challenges that we face and how do we put things in place and create new, more healthy habits, things like that. Really, really important. So that might bring to light also some thought, some experience you've had in the past where you've had a really good, stimulating conversation and you've walked away thinking, man, I wish I could have more of those, or I could catch up with that person more often. And that's what I'd love to encourage you guys to do this morning, is to reach out to some people in your area, reach out to some of those people you've had a good conversation with in the past, a one-off conversation, and just say, hey, would you be keen to catch up? Maybe it's just a coffee once a month. Maybe it's just a walk on the beach once a month or once a week or once a fortnight. That's something I would strongly encourage you to do. This morning's chat, a friend of mine reached out and said, hey, I'm walking on the beach. That's my new thing, and just give myself time to think. And so he reached out to me last night and then said, look, I'm walking in the morning. Do you want to come? Anyways, I texted him and said, yep, definitely keen. Let's do that. So, and then on the way there, I called him and said, what coffee can I get you? And he mentioned that there's someone else joining him as well. He also reached out to a few people. And so I and one other person came back to him and said, yep, we're keen, definitely. And that's also a good indicator is who's keen to jump onto it versus who says, oh, I'd love to, but I'll get back to you, and then don't get back to you. Anyway, so three of us went for this walk, and it was awesome to, very briefly just introduce ourselves and sort of what we do, and then started walking. And the mutual friend of ours is in construction. We're in marketing, storytelling, and then the third person was in sort of service-based HR sort of things. So really broad spectrum. And that's another thing I'd encourage you. When you either get involved with a group or if you're going to create your own group, don't think that it has to all be, if you're a builder, it has to be in construction, or if you're a designer, it has to be other designers. I would encourage you to think further abroad and go, who can I bring into this? Might be someone in manufacturing, might be someone in hospitality. It might be that's going to bring a really great wide range of thinking, of solution, frameworks and things like that. I would strongly recommend that. So anyways, we spent the walk discussing certain things, but This is another thing I'd also recommend, just being a part of some of these groups in the past, is if you can bring, it doesn't have to be a lot of structure. You have some groups, I'm sure you've been to, certain breakfast groups that, catch up weekly. There's a lot of structure to those. You can have it super formal. I enjoy more casual, but still some level of structure. And that might just be texting a question out to those coming to the catch up the night before, week before, and just say, hey, this is a question, give some thought to this. Love to hear your thoughts when we catch up for coffee or go for the walk or whatever it may be. But this morning's chat obviously was a last minute one, but the mutual friend was really good in guiding the conversation. So he knew what it is that we both did, and then guided the conversation so that there was some great synergy there in terms of the conversation. But then we just naturally then went into this, what are we seeing in terms of the market? What are we seeing in trends? Where do we see a really great need? And then just theoretically built out a new business and service offering, and how that niche, what the problem that niche is facing. And it was just a lot of fun, actually, to do this. And then obviously coming from those three different industries to then talk about how you would launch it. People in that group had experience in terms of launching new services, new products, new businesses. So that was really cool to get that insight. But all in all, it was a lot of fun, really creative conversation. And then, we're all at our desks, at our offices by 8:30. So you're fitting that in, and it's a great way to start your day. So what I'd like to do is just, hopefully this video has inspired you to get involved with a community or start your own. If you'd like some help with that, reach out. Otherwise, just reach out to the last person you had a really good conversation with and just say, hey, how about we catch up? And ask them if they know someone as well. One thing I would just stress is it is very important to get involved with the right people and hang out with the right people, those that are solutions orientated, ideally, somewhat big thinkers who want to bring value to that conversation. Hope it helps. Hope you guys have a great week. Catch you soon.